I just don't really know how to explain how I felt about Josh Allen today. And there's no way of tiptoeing around it. He didn't have a good day. He threw two picks. The second one, kind of like, it is what it is. Like, it was tipped, then tipped again, and then intercepted by the guy who tipped it the second time. Like, okay, not much you can do there. The first one, I believe, was in the first quarter, and he was trying to get it to Gabriel Davis, who might have been held on the play, might have not been, but Allen was just staring down Gabriel the entire time, so Odom can just go over there and just cut the route off and just pick the ball off. I think when I saw that happen, I thought to myself, okay, get out of the way. This will be okay. This secondary for the Colts is very suspect, and we could probably overcome this. But obviously, it didn't happen, and Josh knows that he needs to be better. He's a top 10 paid quarterback. He's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, but this season so far, he's had some up and downs, mostly up in my opinion, but I think he needs to go back to the drawing board, and I don't know if I can place this all on him, and I don't think you should place all the blame on Josh Allen, but he needs to be better against a favorable matchup. And I just don't think it just didn't feel like the Colts had one of the worst secondaries in the NFL. It felt like they limited the Bills to 15 points in total, and I would argue the second touchdown to Diggs and the 2-point conversion that the Colts let up, they were just kind of like, okay, we'll let you move the chains and whatnot, but we're just ultimately going to let you run the clock, milk the clock for what it's worth. And, they did that. But I don't know. When it comes to Josh Allen, I think this is a bad game. He understands it. He's got that growth mentality. He's going to go back to the board. He's got to go back to the board. He's got a big matchup against the New Orleans Saints. And right now, the Patriots are technically first place in the AFC East. This loss that they just took to the Colts should shake everyone in that one Bills drive down to the core. Now, this isn't the first wake-up call that this team has gotten. I would argue that the Pittsburgh loss was a wake-up call. I would argue the Titans game was a wake-up call because, they ended up losing at the last second because of a failed 4th and inches conversion. Allen slipped. Okay, it is what it is. Take it for what it's worth. I walked away from that game thinking, okay, the Bills aren't going to run away to the Super Bowl. Like they are contenders, but there are other contenders in the AFC, and they're not going to go quietly. They're going to give Buffalo their best. Every team is going to give Buffalo their best. And you saw that against the Jags. They limited Allen down to 6, Allen and the offense down to 6 points, and that should have been a wake-up call. Then they beat up on the Jets, and then we get to the Colts. We all know the Colts is all about Jonathan Taylor. Carson Wentz is playing average to slightly above average, right now. And I thought it almost felt like to me, walking into this game, that the score should have been flipped. Except if that makes any sense. Like, I expected Allen to put 45 points on them, or 43 or whatever it was, through the air. And I expected the Bills' defense to just shut down the run completely. The Bills like to make other teams play with like one hand tied behind their backs. Like, take away their best weapon. What are they going to do from there? And it didn't work today. And we'll get to the defense and all that stuff, but Allen's got to be better. This is the 4th wake-up call for the Bills and their offense and just the entire organization as a whole. And I'm not so sure what they're going to do differently, but as Allen would say, it starts with me. It starts with me. And I love Josh Allen. It's not all on him, but he needs to play better for us to at least be competitive in these games. This was not a competitive game. This was just an embarrassing loss. I mean, Mitch Trubisky even came in the game. Threw 5 passes for 3 attempts and threw a pick. So I remember on Twitter people were saying, get rid of Allen, bring him Trubisky. Trubisky isn't it. Allen's a great quarterback. He just needs to play better. And we as fans know that he can play better. I'm not here to, crap on Allen or the team, and that's not what you're going to get from me. I just know that this team can perform better. They're just not doing it right now. And I don't know if it's an organizational thing. I don't know if it's a culture thing or just a huge rut that the Bills are currently in. But they need to work through it because these next coming games are really going to shape who the 2021 Buffalo Bills are. And right now, at the start of the season, right, Bills are favored to win the Super Bowl. And now they're in the 6th or 7th seed, I believe. They're basically almost in the hunt again. That should light a fire underneath them because they know they're a great team. They just got to go out there and do it.